Okay, so what happens if they're asking you to find the equation of a cubic graph, but this time they've only given you two x-intercepts, okay? How do we do it then, all right? Have a look at the diagram. So can you see the cubic function basically has an x-intercept at this point of 1, but it's bouncing off the axis at that point over there. So it's actually an x-intercept and it's a turning point, all right, at that point there. So I've got this x-intercept of 1 and I've got this x-intercept of 4, all right, and that's it. There isn't a third x-intercept, so what do I do? All right, we know that the standard equation of your cubic function is, as it's in blue here, ax cubed bx squared cx plus d. And as we discussed in the video regarding if you were given 3 x-intercepts, this was the starting point. We had to start with this bracket where you had your 3 brackets with your x1, your x2, and your x3 in it, okay? Now, if you've only got 2 x-intercepts where the one point is bouncing off the axis, okay, then in fact you actually start in the same place. You start with the same equation, all right? The only thing that is interesting about this is that the point that is bouncing off your x-axis doesn't just get written into a bracket once, it gets squared. So we're writing it twice, okay? So basically it's going to look like this. We're going to have y is equal to a. I've got x minus 1 because that's the point it was bouncing off the axis, but because it was bouncing, we're going to square it. We're writing it twice. And then the other x-intercept was x minus 4. All right. Once you've identified that, you're off. Okay, so then you can substitute the other point, which the other point they've given us in this case was 3 and 8. So 8 is getting substituted into my y value and 3 into each of the x values. And when we simplify that out, we are left with the following. We're left with 8 is equal to negative 4a. All right. So then obviously if I divide by negative 4, we'll end up with negative 2 is your a value. Okay. And just as we had done in previous examples, we then substitute that negative 2 back into your a value. And we had these 3 brackets. Remember, we had x minus 1, we had another x minus 1, and we had the x minus 4. All right. So again, if we FOIL out those 2 brackets, and once it's FOILed, distribute the x minus 1, we are going to land up with the equation of, let's get it here, negative 2x cubed plus 12x squared minus 18x plus 8. And I really encourage you, please go and do that working out. That's the answer you need to get to, but it's just really good to practice that stuff, okay? And obviously, again, we want to just give them what they asked for, which is that A was negative 2, B is 12, C is negative 18, and D, the constant, is 8, okay? So that's what you need to watch out for. If you've only got 2 x-intercepts and one of them is bouncing off the x-axis, the bouncing x-axis gets written twice, okay? It gets squared, and there you go. Easy enough. All right, so we'll try another example in the next video, and let's see how we go. Well done.